Hello and welcome to episode 3 of my Beating Minecraft for the first time series. Today will be a little bit different because I will comment on everything in post instead of you having my real reaction. The reason for this is that I did an oopsie and I didn't realize that my sound recording stopped 3 minutes after I hit record. But on the plus side, this gives me the chance to have a crispier sound as between the time I recorded this episode and the time I'm editing it, my new mic arrived, which sounds so much better than my old one. But enough of the talking, let's get into it. For today, I only have one goal, which is enchanting. The reason for this is that I want to have netherite armor and tools in the future, which I just recently found out needs like a ton of diamonds since a pretty recent update. Diamonds I could either mine by spending hours and hours browsing through the caves until I find every single one of them, or I could still do the same thing but reduce the time by a lot by having a fortune pickaxe. So in order to get an enchantment table and also to max out the enchantments, I need lots of books. So I need to start planting sugarcane ASAP so that it can grow. And I thought while I was at it, I could also plant some wheat. For one, as a source of food for myself, and for two, because I need it for the second task of my board, cow breeding. So I can get leather, and while I'm at it, I can also start breeding some sheep. And there's another thing quite important for enchanting, XP. But luckily, I have already found a spawner that I can transform into an XP farm. And lastly, I need lapis lazuli. With the task board already, I started out with the first task, plant some wheat and sugarcane. So I went to grab my shovel, some dirt, and of course my bucket, and crafted myself a hoe. I also grabbed some spruce saplings so I could have some trees down here in the future. To get the seeds, I went back upstairs and started punching grass, during which process I sighted the first pillagers. However, I didn't really feel like fighting them right now, so I just ignored them and went on with my plan. And back at home, I first slept through the night so that I was fit and ready to prepare my farming area. The next day consisted of me clearing out some of the stone from my farm and then filling everything out with dirt. I replaced a center dirt block with water and planted everything that I could around it. Now all I had to do was wait for it to grow so I could expand my farm. To shorten my waiting time, I created an infinite water source right next to the farm, knowing I would need it, of course, if I wanted to plant some sugarcane. And then I decided to build my XP farm while I kept waiting, and I had actually never successfully built an XP farm before. However, I had also never tried doing it with a spawner, and I didn't think it was necessary to watch a tutorial first, so I decided to freestyle it. So first I removed everything from the inside and then dug down 3 blocks, clearing the whole area out. Once that was done, I went to the side of the room I wanted my zombies to get transported to and dug 1 block into the wall, such as 2 blocks down. I let myself into the hole and dug some blocks deeper and then also cleared out the room where I wanted to be standing later. I connected the room with the outside and prepared the item collecting area. I added water to flush the items on both sides and then dug out the punching area. Of course, the slabs couldn't miss, so no baby zombies would escape. I placed water along the opposite side of the big hole upstairs so that zombies would be transported to the hole once they dropped down from the spawner. And when I removed the torches from the spawner, everything seemed to work how I had wanted it to, and the zombies got transported to my little room. And my farm was already ready for the test runs. Although during the test runs I realized that some of the zombies were stuck on the spawner because they spawned there and just wouldn't get down. So I placed a slab on top to stop them from spawning on there, and now my whole farm could run without any issues. The XP farming, however, could wait a bit, so I decided to focus my attention back to the crop farm again. And I found some melon seeds in my chest that I decided to plant immediately. I slept through the night again so I would be ready to collect some sugarcane over the next day. Before, I set myself to a little side quest though, which was getting a dog. I named her Bubbles, and while Bubbles was waiting for me at the beach, I was driving along the river in my boat in case I sighted some sugarcane. Once I was happy with my loot, I headed back home where Bubbles watched me plant all the sugarcane. Once I was done, I turned all my bones into bone meal as my patience of waiting for the wheat to grow had come to an end. So I bone mealed all of the seeds, and after which I could finally expand my farm. After that, I used up the last of my bone meal, collected all the crops again, and went up the surface again. It was time to start breeding cows. I searched for a nice spot and placed down the fences. I know it's not the prettiest or the most beautiful enclosure, but it would have to do for the beginning. Finding cows was fairly easy as there were already a few close by that I could lead to the enclosure with the help of wheat. Then I built the sheep enclosure right next to it. Also not the prettiest, but I'll put building stables on my to-do list for this world. Finding sheep was a bit harder. I only found a group that was willing to get kidnapped in exchange for wheat the following day. And I also lost one on the way back. The next few days were rather boring. I bred cows and I also got some lapis lazuli from the geode. And I looked a bit into the mineshaft, but again, there was much interesting happening. To keep track of everything, I collected everything enchanting related in a barrel. Then I decided it was finally time to get the obsidian, which was a bit of a pain. Although I could get one of them from basically right in front of my house, I had to search a while for the others and even had to go back to the lush cave. But in the end, it was worth it because I could finally craft my enchantment table. The annoying part wasn't over yet though, because it was only now that my sugarcane had grown for the first time. Woo! Yeah, but I knew there would be a lot more waiting ahead of me until I finally had all of my bookshelves. So instead of waiting, I just decided to already build the enchantment table room, and it ended up looking like this. As you can see, there's already all the bookshelves in it because I just cut to the end of it. Yeah, there was a bit of a time jump, and you can also see my XP is up as well, which is because I didn't just spend my time farming sugarcane and building the room, but I was also doing this. But now I was finally ready to enchant my beloved pickaxe, and overall I'm happy with what came out. But at the same time, I had really wished for a Fortune 3 instead of a Fortune 2, but it is what it is, I guess. Then I got some more XP and also enchanted my sword. I'm actually not too happy with it, to be honest. Although most of it is great, I personally hate knockback. Yeah. And then the last thing I did in this episode was, again, collect XP. To be fair, the sound of it is really nice. And I enchanted my chest plate, which was a pretty good deal because fire protection. Yes, please. Okay, this was everything for today's episode. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a bit different. And who knows, maybe you even prefer this style, kind of like just me talking and cutting out more stuff. But yeah, let me know in the comments, and I'm thinking that I might do it a bit of a mix of both styles in the future. Okay, so see you soon.